Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter here for today's topic. We're going to be talking about New Year preparation in the donations module. I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up. Typically our webinars are 20 minutes. I think today we're going to go a little bit over. So if we hit the 20-minute mark and you need to sign out, that's fine. Feel free to leave the webinar. But with the paperwork that we're going over today, we're probably going to be closer to 25, possibly 30 minutes, just to give everyone a heads up so you know that's the plan. Like I said, today we're going to talk about New Year prep steps and donations. I want to show you on our website where you can find the material that we're going to be going over today. If you go to churchwindows.com, up under supporting, you can go down to New Year prep and help. And then along the left-hand side of the screen here, we do have a bunch of really helpful information. Tomorrow, Josh is going to talk about accounting, New Year prep steps, but today we're talking about donations. So this is the document I am going to be going over today. So if you have any questions, you want to have it printed out, come right here. You can get your hands on a copy of it. And I'm also going to replace this donations New Year setup movie with what we record today. So if you want to rewatch it, share it with someone else. I'll have it up by end of day today. You can get that information here for the video as well. Okay. Also, the document is attached on the GoToWebinar toolbar in the handout sections. You can get it that way if you don't want to head out to the website, but it's the exact same thing. Doesn't matter where you go to get it. Also, feel free to ask questions on the GoToWebinar toolbar. You'll have to type your question in. There's like 125 people, 135 maybe, last time I checked, registered for today. So there's a bunch of you guys, and there's just me and Kellyanne. So if you have a question, feel free to type it in. We will do our best to get an answer for you. Please try to stay on topic. If you have a really specific question or something that's not on topic, just call us. It'll be easier for us to get you an answer that way. Feel free to wait till the end too. I might be going over something you have a question on. But if you want to ask a question during the webinar, that's fine too. Kellyanne will do her best to get you an answer. All right, so as you can see, Church Windows is up on your screen. We're in version 22.19.1. As of this very moment, that is the most current version. We're sending out this new version in waves. So if you haven't received it yet, it is coming. Just be patient with us. We try to send it out in smaller groups so we can do our best to help each customer in a timely manner instead of sending the new version out to everybody. So keep an eye out in your email for that. Okay, so let's look at the document here. Today we are going to focus on a couple different things. First thing is going to be stopping the use of giver numbers. We're going to talk about how to end numbers for people who've passed away, left the church, moved away, what have you. We're also going to talk about reassigning giver numbers. So reassigning them in two different ways. We're going to talk about reassigning them on a one-by-one basis, and then we're also going to look at our auto-assign feature that we have that will reassign multiple giver numbers. And then we're going to talk about how to end giver numbers for everybody, if that's something you want to do. We're going to do labels with giver numbers. So if you print labels out and stick them on envelope boxes, we'll go over that. And then we're also going to talk about starting a new pledge campaign, and we're going to touch on prepaids as well. So like I said, we have a lot to cover. I'll do my best to be clear and not go too long over. All right, so starting on page 1, stopping the use of giver numbers. This is an important thing to do come end of year. It's a good way to keep your database cleaned up, to have those numbers reassigned to people who truly need them, especially if you do envelope offering boxes or the little offering envelopes. If you guys do those at your church, it's a good idea to clean up your giver numbers. That way you aren't ordering a mass amount of boxes and then only using a couple within the range. So stopping numbers and reassigning them is a great way to help prepare you for the next year. Something I do want to touch on too, donations does not have any specific year-end procedure. There's nothing you have to do, if you will, in the donations module. These are all options, things to help you prep for the next year. But there's no year-end procedure or button or starting a new year, things you have to click through in the donations module. When the new year comes, it will just click right to the new year and you can continue working as you have. Okay. So I'm going to open up the donations module here, and I want to talk about a really helpful screen. It's up at the top under Givers. It's called Manage Numbers. This screen is going to be your go-to screen whenever you're needing to change or manipulate giver numbers if you're not doing the auto reassign, which I'll show you in a minute. But this screen is great because not only does it show you people who currently have a giver number, you can also filter to past numbers and future numbers. So if you go through, which I'll show you in a minute, and assign a number to start 1/1/2020, you can hit this future checkbox and see those numbers that are starting after today. All right, so number one, stopping the use of giver numbers. You can stop the use of giver numbers for people not needing them. Perhaps they've passed away, moved away, left the church. This is a very easy process to end that number so then it can become available to assign to someone else. Keep in mind, giving is on the individual's name. It's not on their number. So you can go in and swap giver numbers around as often as you need to, and it's not going to affect their giving or their pledging. Okay. So very simple to end a number. We're going to look at Nina, Carolyn, and Jack first. All you have to do to end a giver number, simply click in their end date box and type in the date you want that number to end. There's no OK or save on this screen. You simply click somewhere else on the screen. You can hit your tab key too if you like to do that. But it's pretty simple. Just type in that date you want your numbers to end. This is a good idea too if you do decide to do the auto reassignment feature, which we are going to get to. You want to make sure you go through and you end those numbers for everybody who isn't needing one. So again, left the church, moved away, passed away, transferred their membership. You want to go in and end these numbers so they become then available to use in the next year. Okay, I'm using 12/31/2019 as my end date. It's a pretty standard end date to use if your year goes from January to December, but of course you could put in whatever end date you wanted. You don't have to use the last day of the year. But that's how you end a number. Now let's talk about how to reassign a giver number one by one. Some users I talk to, they don't need to do the auto reassignment for everybody. They don't care to have everybody in alphabetical order starting from 1 and going up to 500. Sometimes people like to keep their numbers. Say Bob and Sally Smith have always been number 5. They want to keep or continue being number 5. That's fine. That auto assignment wouldn't work for that, for those people. So then we would do the reassignments one by one. So this can be done as well here in the Manage Numbers screen by using this search box up here. So pretty simple. All you would do is look for someone who needs to have a number assigned. Hitting the drop box, we're going to look for Richard Arnold. He's our little test guy I had set up. Here we go. Richard Arnold. I'm going to choose him. Once you have the giver selected that you want to assign the number to, simply come over here to the right, hit this Add New Number button. You're going to get a smaller screen. You're going to type in the number you want Richard to have, and then the start date you want that number to be effective. As long as 99 is available, you can pick whatever date you want. So I know 99 is available the 1st of next year, so I'm going to do 1/1/2020. I'm going to say OK, and now if we look down through our list here, let's sort it by number. Oh, you know what? I have to check future. There's that future checkbox. Let's scroll down to 99. And here's Richard Arnold. His number is going to start 1/1/2020, and I'm only going to see that when I check the future box. Okay? I'm not going to see that when I have current check because his number doesn't start till the 1st of next year. Okay? So that's simple, signing a number for next year. As long as that number is available for the date you're wanting, you just come up here to the top, find the person, and hit add new number. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just remove this for now. And I'm going to show you how to use the auto assign feature. So right now I'm on page 2 on option 3. The auto assign is up here at the top, auto assign number. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I am going to get a little message just telling me that while this screen is open, you have exclusive access to auto assign and manage numbers. So if you're in the middle of doing an auto assign, no one else is going to be able to work and manage numbers or also be an auto assign. It's the only screen that can be open when you're working here. Okay, so just click OK through that. It's always going to pop up. First, you're going to see this is the Choose Giver screen. You need to set the date that you want the new numbers to start. For our example, we want the new numbers to start 1/1/2020. I'm going to say OK. You can definitely make a backup before this. Anytime you do any major change in the database, we always recommend making a backup first. The program will remind you of that right here. It takes a minute to make a backup, and it can really save you if something happens. So make a backup, doesn't hurt. So I'm going to say OK through this, and then my screen's going to build. Now, everyone you have listed over here on the left, these people are going to be available for you to use in the auto assignment for next year, or for whatever start date you choose. So for today's example, I am going to just take everybody who currently has a giver number, and then I'm going to add a couple people who don't have a giver number. So I'm going to show you how to change the filters on this left side to make sure you get exactly the people you want for the auto assignment. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to uncheck this box up at the top here. For now, I want to leave out everybody who doesn't have a number, because majority of the people that I'm assigning numbers to for next year already have a giver number. So I'm going to remove this check mark up here to include those without number. For now, I just want to see everybody that has one. Down here at the bottom, there's a couple options here. This is up to you and how you want to redo your reassignment. But for me, I want to remove this check mark. So I don't want to include givers whose last number ended 12/31/2019. So all those people that I cleaned out that left the church, removing away that first step we did, I don't want them included. I specifically want them off of this list. Okay. Checkbox down here, include inactive givers who do not have a number. Again, that is up to you. If you have some people you need to grab that might fit this criteria, then you would need to check that box. But for me, I'm going to leave it unchecked. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit select all. It's going to highlight everybody that I want. And then I'm going to hit my right facing arrow, and I'm going to pop all these givers over here to the right, because these are the people that I want included when I do my auto reassignment. Okay, the red people are inactive people. It's up to you again whether you have someone who's inactive but you still want included in your numbering. Most people probably aren't going to assign a number to an inactive person, but there might be some cases that you will. So if you see anybody in red over there on the right, maybe double check them, see if they're supposed to be there. All right, I'm going to jump back over to the left though, and I'm going to put a check mark back in this include those without number, because I have two people who currently don't have a number that I now want included. Two new people that joined the church. I want them to have numbers for next year. They currently don't have one. This is how you would go about finding those people. So I have Andrea Brown. I'm going to highlight her, move her to the right. And then I also have Bethany Brown. I want her to be included in my renumbering as well. I'm going to highlight her, move her to the right, and as you can see, they're listed over here on the right as well. Okay. Now, once you have everybody that you want included in the auto reassignment selected over here on the right, you're going to hit this OK button. This is then going to take those people, and it's going to actually put them into this auto assign screen, and this is where the renumbering process happens. So first screen is who you want, second screen is actually assigning the numbers. From here, you can see these are their current giver numbers, and these are the numbers starting 2020. It's their same number because it's continuing forward. Once we redo the auto assignment, you're going to see this number change, this column change, okay? Now, first thing I'm going to do is I want to sort these people in alphabetical order. I want alphabetical order starting at 1 and continuing on. If that's the case, if that's the way you want to redo your auto assignment, which most people seem to do that I talk to, I'm going to click this name column header, and that is going to resort my list in alphabetical order. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hit select all, and that's going to grab everybody that I have in this list. Okay, now I'm going to stop right here and point something out. If you ever want to end giver numbers for everybody, you can do that here by clicking this end numbers for selected. Okay, put everybody in this screen that has a number, hit select all, hit end numbers for selected. That will end everybody's number as of 12/31/2019. Okay, that's just a little side note. I want to make sure I showed you that button. That's how you would stop those numbers for everybody if that was something you guys ever decided to do. All right. Anyways, back to select all. Everyone is highlighted. Top left, I want my first number to be number 1. Sometimes people want their first number to be 100, 200. You can adjust this number here to whatever you want the starting number to be, and then you hit assign selected. As soon as I hit that button, now when we look in my new number starting 01/01/2020, we can see starting at 1, and the number goes up as we go through the alphabet as well. And now everybody has their new number sorted alphabetically for the next year. Okay? If all looks well here, bottom right, you're going to hit save and close. If you decide you don't have the right people here, it's just not working for you, you can hit choose givers, go back to the previous screen, repick your people, or if you're just not happy with what happened, hit a cancel and close. That'll take you back to where you were. If you like the numbers and you like how the resort worked, save and close, you're going to hit that, and then your numbers are done for 2020. That's really how slick that is. Okay. All right, now we are on page 4, and we're going to be talking about getting labels with giver numbers. I know a lot of people do this, especially those people who still use offering envelopes. There we go. I want to show you this as well. So up at the top, we are going to go to Reports and Export. We're going to go to Lists and Labels, and we're going to go to Labels. Now, I'm in version 22, so step 1 for reporting and labels has changed. So this might be the first time you've seen this screen if you haven't gotten your hands on 22 yet. It's very similar. There's just a couple extra clicks, okay? So bear with me while I show you how this works. This Edit People Selection Criteria button, if you hit this, this opens up that first people screen that you are used to seeing. So that screen is still here. You just have to hit this Edit People Selection Criteria button first to then be able to get this screen that you're used to. Okay. So for my giver number labels, I only want people who have a giver number. So I'm going to come over here to the right, and I'm going to remove this check mark to include those without numbers. If you use different giver number ranges, say you only want labels for people who have numbers 1 through 150, you could simply put that range in right here and it would pull that for you. All right, but that's all we have to do here. If I want to label for everybody is uncheck that box. I'm going to hit OK. Below that, this is really important. Use giver number current as of. You have to change this box to that start date that we used for our auto assign, or the start date you used for your new numbers if you did the 1 by 1. So mine is 1/1/2020. I'm going to keep that here. You can also go up to your sort tab up here and set the order you want. I want mine to print out in giver number order, which it's already there, so I'll leave it there. You could also do alphabetical if you'd prefer them to be in alpha order. Say you're putting them in mailboxes in the church hallway or something, you might want to do alpha order, but that's where you would switch that, okay? So that's all we're going to do here on step 1, and I'm going to hit the next button, and that's going to take me over to step 2. Now step 2 is where we are going to build that label layout that we want to get the giver number and the name and address to print. Okay. Up here at the top where it says label layout, I'm going to come over to the right and hit the new button. If you printed giver number labels last year, it'll probably be in this drop box back here. You can hit the down arrow and try to find the one that you made before. If you can't find it or you're not sure, you can always make a new one. That's not a problem. After you hit the new button, it's going to ask you for your label product and your product number that you're using. So we're going with 5160 Avery Standard. That's pretty common. I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. And then my report designer is going to open. So this is where you can customize that label layout to see that giver number print. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to scooch this whole field down. All right, so this is the field that's going to print my mailing label and my address. I just scooched that down just a little bit to make room for my giver number box up here. I'm going to come over to the right in my data controls, and I'm looking for my membership field, which is right here. I'm going to click and hold, drag that over, and I'm going to drop it right where I want my giver number to print. As soon as I let go of that box, I have a Pick Membership Field window that appears. If you've done any customizing in our reports or in your directory, this is going to be very familiar to you. But at this point, all you need to do is scroll down and look for your giver number field. I'm going to select that because that's what I want to print in my membership field. I'm going to say OK. So this field is going to print my giver number. This is going to print my mailing label and address. Up here at the top left, I'm going to hit Save As, and I'm just going to call this 5160 mailing label, address, and giver number. That way, when I go to use this next year, if I need to reprint labels with giver numbers, I'll know this is the one I want because these are the fields included. I'm going to say OK. And then once it's saved up here in the top right, I'm going to hit the X to close. And now in my label layout box, I have my layout I just made. Right below that where it says one label per, I'm going with giving unit. And then I'm going to hit print. And I should get a nice, neat preview of my labels here. So here are my labels. Everybody has their number, starting with number 1 and working their way up because I did that giver number sort. All right. So that is how you get your giver number labels. Now let's talk about, I'm on page 5 here. We're going to talk about starting a new campaign. If you're not a pledging church, you won't need this. But if you are a pledging church, you want to see how the pledging part of the software works, feel free to hang and we are going to go over that. Let me close out our labels here. All right, so pledges. Up at the top, accounts and pledges, hit your blue ribbon. That's going to open up the pledging section of Church Windows donations. You can also hit pledging here too in the middle. Takes you to the exact same place, doesn't matter how you get there. So you have two options for putting in your pledge information. So as those pledges come back in, or you do pledge cards, as that information comes back into you, you have two options for how you want to get the information entered. You can copy an existing campaign and use the new dates that you need, or you can start a brand new campaign from scratch and enter the information in that way. One way is not better than the other. It's just up to you how you would like to get the information entered. So I'm going to show you both. First one is copying a campaign. What you'll need to do is in the campaign drop box, select the campaign that you're wanting to copy. So for today's example, I'm going to use General Fund 2019. The account is General Fund. The start date is 1/1/19, 12/31/19. This is the one that I want to copy. I'm going to select this, and it's going to show me everybody that pledged to that campaign. Now, up in the top right, you have a Copy Campaign button. I'm going to go ahead and select that. It is going to give me a message about leap years. Just verify the ending date. Okay, we can do it. Enter your new campaign name. I'm just going to call this one General Fund 2020, keeping similar to what my other name was. And the program's going to already advance your start date and end date by 1 year. Make sure your start date and end date is what you want. I'm going to tweak that to the 31st. And then go ahead and hit OK. and the program's going to get to work and it's going to build that new campaign for you. So now if we look at up at the top, it says General Fund 2020. General Fund is my account. Here are my start dates, and here are all of the people that pledged to the 19 campaign and how much they pledged and their frequency. Now, at this point, you might get people who tweak or change their pledge a little bit. That's totally fine. All you have to do is click right in this box and you can make the change to what it's going to be. Let's say they increase their pledge to $350, put that information in, and it's going to then recalculate their total pledged amount. Okay? Pretty straightforward for copy. Now, let's say you want to make a whole new campaign. You've never had this one before. There's nothing to copy. Let's say we're renovating the church kitchen and we want to have a campaign for that. Up at the top where it says campaign, we're just going to hit this little green plus sign. This is our add new campaign button. I'm going to put in my campaign name. We're going to call it Kitchen Reno 2020. Going to say OK, and then this lower half of the screen unlocks. So this is where I need to tell it what giving account people are going to pledge to. I'm going to choose my Kitchen Reno campaign that I know I already have. If you don't have one, hit the plus sign to make your new giving account. Adjust your start date and your end date here. If you have an amount default or a frequency default, if everybody's going to be pledging flat, you might as well just put flat in there to save you some time. If everyone's going to be pledging $50, you could put a 50 in there. Then it would automatically put people's pledges into that amount. You could change it, but it's just a time saver. I'm going to hit Add Givers, and now I can put my people in. So let's say Miss Nina made a pledge. She returned her pledge card to the kitchen. I'm going to put in her pledge amount, and I'm going to add her to the campaign. So then as people bring in those pledge cards, you're going to come to the giver box and put in each person's pledge and add them to the campaign. Okay? All right, handling prepaids. This is on page, let's see, page 6 of the document that I'm going over. I want to show you, before I actually enter a prepaid, something that's important to be done over in the accounting module if you use it. In the accounting module, you are going to want to create a liability account that is specific to prepaids. So some people just make a liability account, a number 2 account, and they simply call it prepaid pledges. That's fine. You can definitely create that, just call it that over in accounting. Then once that account is created, you're going to want to come up here to this link to accounting button up at the top under special functions. In here, you need to link that prepaid credit, that prepaid liability account in this prepaid credit account column. Okay, and I'm going to show you why when I enter the donations. But the program is smart enough to recognize that a donation you're entering, as long as you enter it properly the way I'm going to show you, that it's truly a prepaid. When that prepaid amount transfers over into the accounting module, the program's going to automatically dump it into this liability into this prepaid pledges account. Okay, the money's going to go over there and it's going to stay there. It's going to be a little holding tank for that prepaid pledge money. All right, then when you open your new year in accounting and you update your beginning balances, it's going to then bring over that balance that was in that number 2 account into your new year in 2020. Okay, then at that point in 2020, you can do a journal entry and you can move that money out of that liability account and you can put it into whatever income account you want that money to then be in the new year. And then it will show as income in the new year. Okay, some people like to do a lump sum journal entry and move everything at once. Some people like to spread it out and do a little bit each month. It's really up to you how you decide to do that. But in the donations module, make sure you then have your liability account linked. Okay, so I'm going to use the Kitchen Reno for an example. And I am going to then put in my prepaid liability account here. Because anytime somebody prepaids their pledge for kitchen renovation giving, I want it going into this liability account in 2019. Okay, so make sure that is set here so the program automatically transfers it into that account for you. All right, once that prepaid credit account is in there, I'm now going to show you how to enter a prepaid donation. Donation date, let's say Nina prepaid her pledge for kitchen renovations for next year, and she prepaid it today. So I'm going to use today's date. I'm going to select Miss Nina, and let's say she gave $100. She gave a check. And now this is how the program knows it's a prepaid. All right, this is really important. When you come down under account/pledge, you can't simply pick your kitchen renovation account. Okay, you have to keep scrolling further down, and these are all of her pledges. So you actually need to choose this one. Okay, so this one is her kitchen, this is your kitchen renovations giving account, but the pledge range is for 2020. This is how the program knows that this is a prepaid. This is how it handles that gift properly on their donation statement in 2019 and 2020. And this is how the program knows when that money goes to accounting, it needs to go into that liability account instead of the regular income account. Okay, so make sure anytime you handle a prepaid, you're scrolling down to the bottom and you're choosing the one with the correct pledge range that you want, which is, for this example, 2020. All right, once you get that selected, add it to the batch, and then you can post it. Whew. All right, that's everything.